Hey, hello, everybody out there in TV land. That's right, YouTube land. Oof, gotta watch that. How are you? It's time for the Comics Talk with Reverend Sully here at your dojo for tactical and practical spirituality, the kind that's going to make a real difference in your life and give you traction on what you need most. Probably having your self-talk reformatted into something a bit more helpful, and it worked for me. It could work for you. So stay tuned for spirituality and other videos. But we are here on our weekly live chat, the weekly live stream of new comic book reviews. I read a bunch of new comic books this week. DC comic books, Marvel comic books, big two superhero comic books, and a couple in between too from different presses. So we will see. Well, hey, J Cake, how you doing today? Hope you and Kiddo are having a great Sunday. And it's let's see, yeah, and we have some show notes. My executive producer. I told him to get stuffed. Hey, Adam Frey. Yo, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Indeed, yes. It is the Sunday Magazine show, and I didn't know I was ripping off a Canadian radio show. There's a long time Canadian broadcasting company radio show called the Sunday Magazine show, and I like to read from wikis, and so it premiered in 2020, replaced the Sunday edition, which was, whatever. It's a Sunday kind of show, meaning like it's like the Sunday paper had had magazine sections that just had different articles and different spins on things, fashion, home decors, sports. Remember, next week is Superb Owl, and you can spend it here on the live stream next week. Good to see you, Dwayne Muth. Welcome. And as always, we're going to play What's in the Bag at the end of the show. Yeah, I bought some funny books this week at my local comic book shop, my LCS. That's right. I live in the Boston area. The show is produced and shot from our Boston studios, which is down the street from the corner. Ain't that wicked pissa? Live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals and yourself, of course. And did everyone bring their funny books? I hope you did. We're going to be talking about funny books. They're mostly old comics too. There's a story. Let's get to that bag of comic books when we do. By request going out to Lane Kramer, who asked me in the during the live chat at Wes's Thinking Critical this weekend, will I be talking today about Batman, the Arkham games, and the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video game. We will come to that near sometime during the show. Yes. Let's see. And a couple of other just geeky things out there. You like Battlestar Galactica? I do. I'm a huge Battlestar fan. Look at that. You see those up there? Those are Vipers. That's Scar the Cylon. And I got another Cylon, the classic Cylon Raider right here. I've got Starbucks Blaster, Apollo's Blaster right there with the Buck Rogers Blaster. That's the 1978 Blaster. We're seriously geeky here. This is the geeky chill stream you have been looking for. And hopefully, like me, you've been waiting all week just to hang out with your friends, have some comic book shop style conversation, and hang out with a mostly positive spin on things. Seriously, it's mostly positive here. I would say it's like 87% positive with a 13% chance of of cloudy and downpours of outrage rock. Yes, indeed. Cheers. I hope you're all having a great day. And here's something. This. I have this in front of my keyboard. This is my grandfather, Joseph Patrick O'Sullivan. He's passed on, but he's always with me. So in a way that, like, when we're hanging out together and talking, he's always part of the conversation. I just wanted to show that to you. I like that. I love that guy. I'll always miss him. And what did we read a bunch of DC comics, not that many. I think we read 7 new DC comics this week with a couple of genuine surprises. DC has been really, leaving me mostly satisfied, which is like, just that sometimes that's all you can ask for. And in the comic book world, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different Marvel books. And then I read a bunch of Image and Dark Horse books too, and some IDWs. And it was a real grab bag. Like, the pirate chest was extra deep this week. And yeah, we'll get to those here at the Sunday Magazine Show, or like on FM rock radio. When growing up for me in the 70s and 80s, you had your Monday through Friday DJs, but then on the weekends you had like different DJs, and on Sunday they would have the magazine format shows, interviews, live concerts, King Biscuit Flower Hour, Dr. Demento, like syndicated stuff, but also like the general manager, who was once a DJ, has a curated show. And like we had one called Boston Emissions by Oedipus, who was the general manager of 104.1 Rock Radio, WBCN Boston. And he like had this show, a curated show about like local talent. And so, yeah, this magazine show, like, it's a special edition, So, and it's a Pokemon Go community. Yeah. And what's Chansey's? Is that a burger place? I love burgers. I love burgers. Burgers make up like 70% of my diet. I should be laying off of burgers, but they're just so tasty. Sometimes I just want mayonnaise and ketchup and American cheese, and sometimes I want yellow mustard, ketchup, diced yellow onion, and thinly sliced dill pickle, and make something like a double quarter pounder of cheese in that same kind of flavor thing that I'm going for, like the McDonald's cheeseburger or the quarter pounder of cheese, that yellow mustard and ketchup and onions and pickles. I love that stuff. McDonald's over Burger King for me any day. Fries are just a big part of that, and the apple pies too, that like we're so so I don't know if anyone used. Oh, okay, it's a Pokemon that looks like an egg. Indeed. Is that part of the original 151 Pokemon? I'm still stuck at like 4. JK got something this week. She got Witch Trials #3, and it wasn't as strong as some of the prior issues, but still fun. And fun is a very underrated active ingredient in all of our fictions. Have fun, and wherever I had a lot of fun this week reading different comic books, and some of them really took me by surprise, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you here today now. Whoa, Hogan. Well, yeah, it's about 10 minutes. You know what I mean? The first 10 minutes, like, people, slowly show up and stuff. It's kind of like, just like I wish church was the same way. Like, I'm going to get to the gospel, as soon as I'm at 75% capacity. Don't waste it on just like, the early birds. I haven't gone to church in years. Oh, man. When I was a kid, though, I remember in the 70s, the McDonald's McShake, the green ice cream, the green ice cream milkshake from McDonald's. And I remember the how to put this delicately, that my solid waste was the same color as the McDonald's McShake for 2 days. I think it was so much food dye in that stuff. It was. I just remember that so vividly. And I was a small person too. I don't think I've ever had a McDonald's McShake ever since. Indeed. Yes, JK, I agree. We'll get to that in just a moment. You want to start off with the DC books? Let's start off the DC books because we only got 7 of them. There's the Trinity Special #1 by Tom King, Daniel Sampere, and different artists. It's basically just reprinting what's come before. I think there was like the part from Wonder Woman 800 and that premiere Trinity, and then the backup features of Wonder Woman 1 through 4, I think, maybe 1, 2, and 3 at least. And it's not that they're terrible stories. I mean, as Tom King goes, this is not that bad. And I'm trying not to be oversensitive about Wonder Woman. It's it's because it's stronger than it appears, but it's still, and I'm also liking The Penguin by Tom King as well. So it's rare for me to like so much Tom King in one sitting. There's Titans Beast World #6, which is interesting because issue 5 came out last week. So it's like they're in a big rush to wrap up this event, and also there are 2 epilogue issues that don't come out until like 3 to 4 weeks from now. So it's just unless they move those up, which they always could do. It's like an issue of Green Arrow. I think it's Green Arrow #9 and another thing and another one here. And another one. There's DC Power 2024. It's an annual that it celebrates Black History Month. So it's showcasing all the African American and the heroes of color in the DC universe. But it's basically DC Universe Prime, with the exception there's a Val Zod Superman story, which was written by John Ridley, who gets a lot of flack, for right or wrong, sure. But this was a strong story, and I like Val Zod as a character. I like Earth 2. I liked that New 52 Earth 2. I love the design of Val Zod's outfit. Hey, Lane Kramer, you've come. Now we can serve the nachos. Hope you're doing good as well. And JK finds a Trinity obnoxious. Yeah, huh? Maybe you just I exactly. And let me take a sip of that. Where was I with the DC funny books? Oh yeah, DC Power 2024. Mostly very enjoyable. There's one that's a Black Manta tale. That's it's an anthology book, so it's about several different characters, and I like the one that was. So I like the Val Zod one the best, and because it was a really good story, good standalone little story of Val Zod. Just he's Superman on his Earth too, and that's that. I mean it's really cool. And then there was a Black Manta story that was drawn by Dennis Cowan. And he's one of my all-time favorite, pencilers and artists. It does look like it was drawn on an iPad, so there's that. But still, it's like, I'll take that. I'll take Dennis Cowan drawing on an iPad over most stuff these days. It's still Dennis Cowan, and I like. Yeah. So overall, yeah, it was pretty good, and that is like the. I think it was 100 pages, was it? It was pretty thick, Then comes a couple of books that caught me off guard. And the Batman and Robin 2004 annual was really fun. It ends up being Bruce taking Damian on a camping trip just to, you know what I mean? And then they become part of some kind of hunted versus hunter, which they turn the tables, and it's just really nice. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. There was the Batman Superman World's Finest Annual. That was okay too. I liked the Rex Mason Metamorphose story a lot. I ended up liking that a lot, and I didn't think I would. I thought another, antediluvian Rex Mason tale. You know what I mean? But it just, yeah, it's the same. It feels like it's the same story told again. But I guess it's just like, maybe it's the new coat of paint. Hey, what's up, Cap? Good to see you. How are you? Oh, let me catch up on the chat here real quick. Lane Kramer liked Beast World #6. I did too. I enjoyed it. I like a good Dick Grayson story. And that had some really good Dick Grayson moments. It reminded me a lot of Judd Winnick's Titans Young Justice graduation day. I think it was from 2000. And that was just, I like a good Titan story. And this ended up being a good Titan story with a really interesting ending, a nice twist. I'd like to see where this goes. That was something that was very obvious that took me by surprise, which I always appreciate and respect. Like, oh, yeah, really cool. And I don't know what I'm doing with Ghost Machine yet. I don't know. We'll find out. There was Batman Offworld #3 by Jason Aaron and wonderful art by Doug Mankey. And this is just fulfilling because it's all set up and this is payoff. And a 3X structure. This is 3 issues. This is Batman's final test against this alien. And he learns how to beat an alien that's bigger than him, stronger than him, but this is really good Batman stories. And so there was some really good Batman this week between the Batman and Robin annual, the Batman Superman World's Finest annual, and Batman Off-World. I mean, it was a strong week for DC. And I'm going to leave the last one here. We'll talk about something, oh, hey, Bone. Excuse me. Thank you very much. God bless you. Oh, please smash the like button. Yeah. And thank you, Bone. It's good to see everyone out there. The last comic of the week that I'm going to review is going to be Alan Scott Green Lantern issue 4 of 6 by you, Tim Sheridan, but with awesome art by Cian Tormey. You see this t-shirt I'm wearing right here, the Arkham Sessions. They're a really good podcast, and they were really influential on me choosing to be a YouTube creator because they were just succinct shows. They did a lot. They do a lot with psych and pop culture, and we have a licensed psychologist and her husband, who does produces documentaries, for DVD Blu-ray houses. They do their own show, and they've done it almost a decade now, where they psychologically analyzed every single episode of Batman the Animated Series in a linear fashion, like as in a developing case, through the eyes of a really nerdy and geeky Batman obsessed psychologist. And it demystifies things. It makes things of mental health like really accessible. And is it a good depiction of mental health? Are they misreporting this? And it was just, let's get our head around Batman, around trauma, about resilience, and about coping. And Batman's a good case study for this. And it's a wonderful place. Oh, and also Cian Tormey is a friend of theirs, and he did the art for their challenge coin. This is what Dr. Dre Letamendi says about Batman. He's doing the best with what he's been given. He's doing the best with what he's been given. And that's what they look like. Yeah. And Cian Tormey is a friend of theirs and did this art. And so, I mean, I thought those, It's weird when it comes to Twitter blocks, because I was blocked on Twitter by Tim Sheridan for being part of a conversation, a comic book shop style conversation about the nature and the changes and the storyline of Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, #1 in this new golden age by DC Comics. And I'm going to say this was the strongest issue of the series so far. It's the one I liked the most. It had some really good fight scenes, and it unpacks a lot when it comes to revealing the story of our golden age Red Lantern, who ends up being, spoilers, sorry, but the long lost love of Alan Scott. And it was just weird that I called this, like, in the issue 1 hubbub, I honestly kind of don't care about turning Alan Scott gay. I mean, they made him gay already in the New 52. That's a different Alan Scott. Unless there's some kind of, I asked the same thing about Power Girl. It's like, are there 2 Power Girls? Is there a post Infinite, Infinite Frontier Power Girl? Is it who's post Doomsday Clock as well? Because that's the crux of a lot of this, is like, this Alan Scott, is his first appearance was Doomsday Clock #8, I believe. And that's this new Alan Scott, this iteration, the gay Alan Scott, if you want me to be less like eloquent, but that's where this Alan Scott comes from. So what about Power Girl? I mean, what about the Power Girl that lived on Earth 2 and was Val Zod's girlfriend? Remember that Power Girl? Yeah. Comic book convolutions, huh? But I called it back then. It was like, I bet that the Red Lantern's going to end up being, the love of his life. He's going to be, it's going to be The Spy Who Loves Me. It's a James Bond movie and story, and it's about your opposite on the other side of the aisle, or the enemy, and you fall in love with the enemy. And I was like, I guess one of the worst things I said was, like, if this is where it ends up, is that a hack? Is that a hack writer move? Or is it all about how you tell the story? Even if it is a hack move. But I called this like miles away. Yeah. And hey, AL, good to see you. How are you? Dwayne Muth. Bringing the heat as always. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, I don't like being right all the time. And I called this like months ago, like, nah, this is I bet you this is what's gonna end up happening. Yeah. And I did, but I was never mean about it. If you can tell good stories, and maybe you can talk about, like, being in the closet, like in the 50s, you know what I mean? Or just like, or maybe just like some of that stuff, like in Watchmen, that maybe they're trying to go for with, like, Hooded Justice, that gives the, or like, what was it? There was, like, the 2 women too. What was their name? Oh gosh, it'll come back to me at like 5 a.m. But yeah, Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, wasn't all that bad. Just like, but I'm not, how am I supposed to spend money on that with Tim Sheridan blocking me? But also, Cian Tormey is doing a really wonderful job on pencils, and it elevates what could be a mediocre story. So there's that. And just all the cruising involved, and all the, this is normalization, right? Let's talk just a little bit about some of the independent comics that I read this week. I read something called Wonderland, Child of Madness on Xenoscope. It was the 3rd issue of 3. So I'm walking into this. So it's like Alice in Wonderland, I guess. And yeah, maybe not. It's just, it's like a fairy tale's gone wrong. And it's interesting, just jumping into a comic right at the end. It happened a few times in this part of the pirate chest. But I don't know. Just there was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures number 10, which was really fun because you can really hear the character voices and the sound effects and even the music. Oh, thank you so much, Adam Frey. That's really nice to say, to read and hear, and that's really nice of you to say. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and so was Renee Montoya of who was the question, and who is the question, and also currently the commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. And there is a question backup feature in Detective Comics. That's pretty darn good, in my humble opinion. I'm really liking tech these days under Ram V's pen and his big arc here. But yeah, it's issue 10 of Saturday Morning Adventures from IDW and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is it's just a really idealized cartoon version of our friends here. And JK, have you read 52? It was a weekly, it's 52 by DC Comics, and it was the first Renee Montoya question stories, and I thought they were really good. And that's where Rucka's Wonder Woman comes out of, too. No pun. And yeah, AL loves the Saturday morning cartoon series. Exactly. I read a Tom King book called Love Everlasting, issue number 12. And it's on Image. And I never even heard of it. I may have heard of it. And it's got interesting art by Elsa Charretier and colors by Matt Hollingsworth. Clayton Cowles is doing the lettering. So it's like, but Osrander Mandrake special. Yeah. Excuse me. That's the beer. Yeah, I got all the floppies too. It's just, and they're really, really cool. And I thought that was a Greg Rucka story with Renee Montoya, and it's always all about, in my humble opinion, who's writing. And because Greg Rucka writes really good, strong, stunning, brave female characters. That's like his forte. You should check out Queen and Country on Oni Press. That is really, really good. There's Antarctica, issue number 8. Now, I've read like 6, 7, and 8. It's on Top Cow, which I think is great. I mean, Simon Burks is the writer. Wheelie Roberts is the artist for this one. And I these Image comics, I really like the way that the design of the credits page, because remember, there's still a print publication. There are rules to follow. There are just like, your table of contents page. It's always in a certain font. It always has a unified look until editors change, and then you change things around here and there. But for certain spans, just these print publications, they have a look to them. And Antarctica is about, there's a secret research station up in Antarctica, and we've got an incursion of a multiverse. So people are like running into their own doppelgangers. Whether they're evil or not depend maybe on the core values of that person, or there are circumstances in the other universe. But it's like, it's not uninteresting. I just more of like, I'm more interested that I'm tuned in on it. And that's coming out on the Batman Scooby-Doo book is coming out on Wednesday, and that has a $2.99 cover price. DC could be selling their comic books for $2.99. Never forget that. I mean, cardstock variant covers, that's the upsell. That could, but having a basic version, that's a dollar less than a pack of Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever the heck, is the big card. I still see card packs in supermarkets, and they're at eye level with kids, not comics. And those things I think run about $3.99, $4.99 a pack of cards. There was Crave number 3, and from Maria Lovett, and it's very modern romancy. So it's, yeah, I mean, I don't know who this is for or who it's by, and but it's a romance. It's a modern romance comic. If for all you to plumb and unpack out of that statement, it's for you to do. Alterna does have King Cryptid, but I never see it anywhere. And the 8 local comic book shops of this Boston area within striking distance of the very own dojo for tactical and practical spirituality, the Fortress of Solitude, all within reach of public transportation. These 8 different comic book shops I've never seen in Alterna. Is that CG thing that much of a stigma? Indeed. And they're all classic versions of the characters too, you know. It's real Velma, not Mindy Kaling's Velma. It's even real Fred and Daphne, not Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle, you know, Daphne. Ooh. Speaking of Sarah Michelle Gellar, it's in the program notes that it was part of the agenda today. I bought myself something very special. I had like $80 in accumulated gift card cash, and so I put it toward that. That was basically the quarter of a cost of a brand new Blu-ray player, a Sony 4K. For this giant 4K TV, I use my PlayStation 4 as a Blu-ray DVD player and as an app box. You know, I only watch YouTube and Amazon Prime. That's it. And DVDs and Blu-rays. But I don't have a 4K player, and I got a 4K TV though. So I deserve the upgrade. Also, it's region free. That means the gloves are off, and I can buy any DVD or Blu-ray made in the planet. I commemorated this by getting a couple of TV shows. One was Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. I got the complete sets, the box sets, and they were at a decent price too. And I got a Region 2 box set of the infamous British 1970s sci-fi series Blake's 7. I've always wanted to see this. They did not play this on PBS here in Boston. I saw I, Claudius, for goodness sake. I grew up watching Doctor Who, and I always knew what Blake 7 was because I had a comic book shop, you know, and they had hobby magazines and British comics as well. But I ordered all 4 seasons of Blake 7. It's Region 2, and it'll play on my new player. I also got from Germany, there was a movie in the early 80s called Das Boot, done by Wolfgang Petersen. But originally overseas in Germany and then the Netherlands, it was I think a 6 or 8 hour long miniseries, and that's the real way to watch Das Boot. So I got that too. So I'm like, and then what's next? Give me a couple of paydays, please, to recuperate. But I'm going out and getting that Japanese version of Macross. Do you remember Love 1984? Japanese region, but and no English subtitles. It's just pure Japanese. So I don't care. But I can also get like Macross 7 now, or just the things that Harmony Gold do not have the agreement to republish because Harmony Gold has had the Robotech license since like 1985, and that restricts the what can be sold in America, the Macross products. Toys are one thing. But then, like, you still can't get a new copy of Macross Do You Remember Love 1984, which I think is, oh, that's heartbreaking. I totally want that. All I have is a YouTube copy, and I want my physical copy, and I will have one. Will learn a little Japanese. There's Bloodrick number 3 of 3, and I'm glad this got published, and I love the pencil work in this, and that's as sword and shield as I get. There was Dark Spaces Dungeon, written by Scott Snyder, and I mean, really good panel placements and pacing, but it's walking into the middle of this and having no idea what's going on, and it's yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Was it supposed to be some kind of thing like The Prisoner or something? I don't know. There was Godzilla Valentine's Day, which was cute, and yeah, so I ended up reading a bunch of Image and Dark Horse and IDW comics too. Yeah. What else we have? We got a bunch of Marvel comics to talk about too. That's sorry, I have to catch up on the yes, region free, yeah, and it's real Scooby-Doo. Yes, physical media does rule, and dude, nice, and the animated or the Carrie versions. Oh, the Grinch. Okay, here we go. And let's see, what do we got for Marvel Comics? Avengers Incorporated, number 5 of 5, which ends the series. One of the most misunderstood best series that nobody bought. This is like, and this is on the best of 2023 list everywhere by Al Ewing, Leonard Kirk, and Alex Sinclair, and it's this was supposed to be a bit more. I think this was supposed to be hip. This is supposed to be like Mad Men hip, like retro-y kind of hip. And yeah, I mean, it kind of fell flat, and that happened. Sure. So goodbye, Avengers Incorporated. We hardly knew ye. But we have Avengers Twilight by Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Acuna, which is like Dark Knight Returns level of Avengers. And it got that. It really went there too, in a way, not with hyper violence, but with internal monologue of Steve Rogers, calling himself old man and telling him to, keep motivated and keep doing it. Excuse me. But that was really reminiscent of Batman. You know what I mean? Literally calling himself old man. But the art in it is really good, and it was and it's a decent story, and I'm liking it so far. Carnage issue number 3, written by Torrin Grunbeck and art by Pere Perez. There is it's the Cletus Cassidy is been reassembled by the Carnage symbiote, and I mean, underneath all the superhero stuff is a really good macabre crime thriller that's kind of like Seven, something like that's grotesque and cruel. And like the last page of the splash page, it puts splash in the splash page. This thing is really bloody and it's over the top, but it's a horror book starring the horror symbiote Carnage. Venom had an offspring. Carnage, the symbiote, the offspring, attached itself to the serial killer, Cletus Cassidy. And and Lane Kramer dropped it. I'm not. See, I would too. I'm not buying it. So I have, reading the High Seas version. If it's good, I'll go back and get it. But I'm grateful that I'm reading all of these. That like, hey, I don't have to buy that one. I never got into Ice Cream Man. Yeah, but I heard that was really good. There was Dead X-Men #1, which is going to be another 4-issue arc. This is done by Steve Fox. He did Dark X-Men for the 5-issue Fall of X mini. So I've got zero hope in him landing this one. This is just all over the place using a time-displaced team of dead X-Men. Like the 5 X-Men who died, who got voted to the team, and who died at the Hellfire Gala and the fall of Krakoa that just happened. And so it goes. Oh, that's okay. I got the foil cover variant of World's Finest Teen Titans #1. That went nowhere, and I dropped that title too, but it's a nice cover, and you know what I mean? And just like, that's part of the game, I guess, or it's part of it. There is a hit or miss still to this game of that part of our hobby. Like sometimes you just like I'm gonna get a variant cover, hopefully from Yule. I asked him if he could order me one. I'm pretty sure I did, but it's this coming week's Birds of Prey issue #6 cardstock variant cover by Pablo Villalobos, and it's a beautiful cheesecake variant called the Sweater Weather variant, and it's got all the girls in bikinis in a hot tub at a ski resort, and there's Big Barda right in the center, and there's I love it. I love Big Barda. And I want that. And, and I hated Birds of Prey issue 5, and I don't think this is going to land well. I loved issues 1 through 4. I really did. And I really liked the art too. And then they changed the artist in the last issue, and it went to this like almost like a very Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of retread of a story. And so this is going to be like the last issue. So I'm not getting it for the story. I'm literally getting it for the cheesecake variant cover. And yeah, then there is Gang War by Greg Kupak. Gang War, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. It's the Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi has inherited Chinatown from his father, and he's trying to be a good guy. But it's the gang war going on. So he's got to protect his territory, but he's a good guy still. But he's got his father's army who are just, is Birds of Prey canceled? That's a good question. It's going to be 6 of 6, which completes the first arc or the trade paperback. But I don't know if there have been any future solicitations. There's a great question. Because it's the paper quality that justifies the $1 more, I believe. But as I read it. I've been there, done that. I don't have to have it's easy for me to be very meh on Greg Pak work because he's blocked me on Twitter with no direct interaction, negative or even positive. I'm on a group block list that says more about the character of the people that use it. May your blocks be based on one-on-one interactions. May you always give people a chance. Even tell them, hey, I'm about to block you. It's okay. You can mute people too. It's your timeline. Curate it. We have Hulk #8 that came out. Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein. Let's stick a pin in that. Oh, yeah. Here's one that I ended up really liking. Marvel Voices Legends, #1, 2024. This is the Marvel special issue celebrating Black History Month. So it's Marvel's Black and Heroes of Color in their own special. Oh, and that was the one thing I forgot to mention about what I read this week too, with DC Power 2024, because they had, Kid Flash, Black Manta, Bloodwind, Valzod, Superman. They had Thunder and Lightning, who are the daughters of Black Lightning. I'm probably I've got to be missing. So and one about Duke Thomas, the Signal, some Batman stuff, and but one thing I thought was missing were the Wildstorm characters, and also most definitely the Milestone characters, like Static, and Icon, and Rocket, and Hardware. I thought that, but there are plenty of. And Mr. Terrific too. He had his own tale in it as well. So you had all of you have enough ground to cover, I guess, and on DC Prime or Earth Zero. I see. I think it's about adjacency because I follow Ethan Van Sciver, or I'm followed by him. I'm also followed by a couple of CGers, like Shane Davis, Cecil, Mandy Summers, Dale Keown. I follow them; they follow me. Billy Tucci, and maybe it's because I'm on Wes. Wes is Thinking Critical. I'm on his Saturday panel show, Comics Aficionados. Sometimes almost like once a month, or a little bit more than that, how it seems. And I'm blessed and grateful for that. But I've seen stuff where haven't you seen those videos? Like Wes is on a list of far right yutzes and chuds. Like you shitting. So I think that's got something to do with it. A former friend of the channel, Winnie Wu, once identified. She was like, oh yeah, she's a Chinese American, and she was playing his data. It's like, oh, that's Greg Pak and Alyssa Wong, and they blocked you. You must have said something anti AAPI. You're probably on an anti Asian American Pacific Islanders group block list because of comments I may have made about perhaps Simu Liu being a complete tool. And probably it was Danny Rand losing the iron fist when Alyssa Wong came on to write it. So any kind of criticism or even questioning of that led to being on some kind of anti-Asian list in the days of Stop Asian Hate kind of shit. That says more about the people who use group block lists than it does about me, my intentions, how I feel, and and AL is Chinese too. But that was just, it made oh, that makes sense. So I defy them, and I literally I shake my fist in the air to you, Greg Pak and Alyssa Wong. I'm not anti-Asian, you jerks. You judgmental jerks. How am I supposed to buy your books? How am I supposed to like what you write? I will say, when you do something good, because we're going to talk about Alyssa Wong in just a second. We're going to be talking about Star Wars, Dr. Aphra, issue 40, final issue. But we got a couple of more to go. We got the Marvel Secret Wars Battle World issue 3, written by Tom DeFalco, which is, visually and pacing, everything, it fits. It really feels like a mid 80s Marvel comic book of its time. I'll give it that much. And this one has been the most pleasing and satisfying of the 3 issues I've read so far, which isn't saying much. But hey, it's Spidey. He's new in his black costume. He's starting to get used to his enhanced power set with it. And it's just got great versions, like all of like the 80s versions. And it's really pleasing. And good panels, good panel progressions, really decent art. Like I said, the first two were just like, and this is literally made for me. These are the comics that are made for me, from people my age. The facsimile issues and these silly ass 0.1, trade paperbacks that they try to throw at you. And then everything else is for modern audiences. And I identify as a Pikachu. Pikachu. Pikachu is most definitely Asian. He's Japanese, Really. You what? You get stuffed. That's a little joke between us. But yeah, but okay, but going back to that Marvel Voices, I want to finish that up. Marvel Voices Legends number 1, 2024. Every story in this was pretty strong. You had like the Patriot, you had Binary, aka the original second Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. You had Sam Wilson. You had Deathlock, and my favorite part of this though was an interview with Dennis Cowan though, and he's talking about like Dennis Cowan drew some of my favorite comic books growing up in the 80s, and specifically Detective Comics 598, 599, and 600, which is known as Blind Justice, one of my all-time favorite Batman stories. But this is wonderful like 2-page interview with it's just Q&A with Dennis Cowan, and just stuff I didn't know, that he worked for like he's been working in comics since he was in high school. He grew up in Queens and was lucky to go to the art high school in Manhattan, and then ended up being in Neil Adams, being an intern for Neil Adams. But Neil Adams, the legendary Batman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, artist, he had an ad agency. He did commercial art. That's where he got his bread and butter from, was running a Manhattan ad agency. Comic books was just something he did on the side. And so Dennis Cowan was a paid intern, right out of high school with Neil Adams, and he learned so just much about the craft, but about deadlines and about efficiency and about the commercial aspect to commercial art, which is, I love this kind of stuff. And that was very fulfilling for me as being a lifelong Dennis Cowan fan. And there's a Misty Knight story. She's hanging out with Colleen Wing. And I really like the Deathlock story. I grew up with Deathlock stories, and that was pretty darn good. And then there's a really nice one about T'Challa, and he's an old man, and he's still married to Storm. And Ororo and T'Challa have grandkids, and they have blue eyes just like their grandmother. And this is a really charming little story, because shit like that gives me a little hope, because I loved T'Challa and Ororo together. That was a really nice time. It was around Civil War too. Remember, like Civil War kind of like started breaking them up. Yeah. And nice. Let's see. Yeah. Notice they go into 4-issue minis. Yeah, there was 5-issue minis, like, just a couple in the last event cycle. I love going to New York City. I haven't been in New York City in a decade, in 10 years. And my favorite bagel place is closed. It was West 72nd Bagels. The quintessential Jewish deli, man. So good. Oh gosh. Mom. Everything else is just round bread. A real bagel comes from New York City. You can quote me on that. Brain grenade. Holy water. Woo-hoo! Cheers. Slancha. Happy Sunday. Happy day off. Happy new comic books. I love new comic books. Yeah, Green Arrow is pretty good. I'm glad that Joshua Williamson got an extension. He's doing a lot of different stories. I missed out on Duke #2 this week. That was it was already sold out by the time I got to the local comic book shop on Wednesday. We're gonna get into what's in the bag in just a minute, but what's not in the bag was Duke #2 because it had already sold out. Yule Carter has my copy. Thank you, Yule. And Fantastic Comics. This will be the 4th time I'm shopping with Yule Carter. If you need a local comic book shop, it could be just your own mailbox away. His deets are in the details in the description of this show. Contact Yule Carter, friend of the show, panel mate of mine over at Wes's Thinking Criticals, Comics Aficionados. And he has a Tuesday night show, which is really cool as well. So check out Yule Carter. He can get you some comic books, and that's your business with him. It's not a paid advertisement. He's my friend, and I shop from him, and I'm proud of it too. It's a local comic book shop, a mom and pop brick and mortar shop, an independent bookstore, and it's just a whole continent away. We go from the Bay to the harbor. I love that. Ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free. Yeah, 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 yeah. Little pink houses, baby, for you and me. All right. Enough of that. We don't want to get a copyright strike. You know I'm pitch perfect. But yeah, I mean, I almost bought Marvel Voices Legacy. I had it in my hand, and I just like, like, oh, it was good, but it just like, I don't know, maybe I should have bought it. There's Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, 5 of 5. This is written by Steve Orlando, and I think it's a good example that Steve Orlando gets a lot of the boutique gigs. Like, he gets a lot of boutique titles just told from certain points of view about certain characters that align with his level of representation. Sure. But can he write a good story? Sometimes it's no. I mean, that Astonishing Iceman was terrible. And that's pretty much one of the only Steve Orlando stories I've read. So maybe that's an unfair thing to judge too. I haven't read much of his stuff. I've obviously read some of his stuff here and there, sure, but this was good. This was it was satisfactory. It was competent superhero storytelling. It's basically Marvel Team Up 2099, where you have Spider-Man and a different team up in a different, all 4 different issues. This came out as a weekly, so this has probably been in the can for a while. And just so you can get it published and we can go into the trade paperback. My shop had 1 copy of Dr. Aphra 40 when I picked it up. Did you pick up Dr. Aphra? Are you reading it? Your LCS usually orders a ton of everything, and you were surprised. It was, I mean, it's like the last issue of this series, and okay, here's giving proper respect and due when it's due. So Dan, fuck you, Slotto Bloctavius, and again with the blocks. Why? Definitely for adjacency's sake. I've never had a negative interaction with them. I had a decent interaction with them back in like 2014, 2015. And but I ended up on a list because this is one of those like CG adjacent ones. It's got to be. And but it's Spider-Boy #3, and it's a really decent story. I really liked it. And see, he's got it when he's got it. And Dan Slott has written lots of Spider-Man for the better part of 2 decades. Some of it's good, some of it's it's like what I say about baseball players. You get on base a lot. People that get on base a lot also strike out a lot, but they're also always going for the ball. and they know how to hit the ball. But sometimes you just strike out, though. Dan Sloth is a big baby. Yes. Ah, well, that's good. Let's see. But yeah, Spider-Boy number 3 was pretty fun and likable. And the art is decent, and just good sequential panels. Good. It's a really solid superhero story, especially because, you know, Spider-Boy's a little unlikable. He can be, and just like, I think he's going to have a heel turn in him. I think he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. Yeah, you ready to hear first? What is this called? The Spine-Tingling Spider-Man 4 of 4, Solomon Ahmed. This actually landed really fine. So this has a really interesting art style. Juan Ferreira does the art. I think it looks really pencil oriented too. And I really like the creative freedom that he's given himself to draw Spider-Man's eyes. I like that a lot. And this last part of the story really makes everything that came before it a lot better, because it lands pretty well. Spider-Boy is kind of like Trinity, maybe, yeah. Let's see. Oh, and speaking of the devil, Star Wars Dr. Aphra, issue 40 by you, Alyssa Wong. But guess what? This book is not made for me. This is made for modern readers, and this is, I don't think it's unfair to say it's for girls by girls, or maybe even just sensitive modern men, or just I don't think this is for it's, as Star Wars storytelling goes, it's this is probably my most enjoyable issue out of all of them that I've read. All of these Alyssa Wong, Dr. Aphras. I mean, I didn't read any older Dr. Aphra that came in the volume before this, but it returns Aphra back to, like, she is an archaeologist, and it does she come across a Jedi book or something, and just then there's just more modern purple and modern relationships, and yeah, that's about it. Dr. Aphra, that happened. So yeah, there's a vocal minority on people who, because if you don't have a Dr. Aphra monthly, you're punching down on people by not having their characters represented, and they worked hard to to coerce and leverage these characters into constant usage. But everything seems to be wrapping up on a level in Star Wars that it's coming to a pre Return of the Jedi place. It seems like everything's coming up to the opening scroll of Return of the Jedi in most Star Wars books right now, like the ones that they're all wrapping up. Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters, they're definitely, they share, and Dark Droids really put that, drove that home, that they share not this time frame of this like pre Return of the Jedi space that they're in. Maybe they'll skip to after Return of the Jedi and start. Have they started telling stories there yet in the aftermath years? I agree. There are way too many Star Wars books, but it's like, it's Star Wars as a brand, though. It's kind of like the traditional newsstand. You're gonna have Cosmopolitan and Vogue, and then you have Scientific American, and then you have Rolling Stone magazine and National Geographic, and then you also have the Car magazine too, and then Hit Parader. So you have you need to, like, to have a magazine to sell this to at least some part of your demographic. And with 10 different 10 different Star Wars comics basically every month, I think that's what they try to do with that. Yeah, probably. Well, the Obi-Wan Kenobi adaptation's working for me as a Star Wars fan. That's coming out this week. And the Mandalorian season 2 was working for me until that last episode, and it's probably did it land that flatly as a show? Season 2, that's where Luke Skywalker just pops up in the last minute and flies off with Grogu, and just it landed like really that flatly in the show. Well, good. And there's Wolverine 42, the Sabretooth War Part 2, and which was sold out at my comic book shop by the time I got there. And Yule Carter has my copy. Yep, that's right. And so thank you, Yule. He's got my copy of... I wasn't even going to get Wolverine 42. I did get Wolverine 41 because I read it in my pirate chest, and I liked it that much that I went and got it. And I was like, yeah, I might not. I'll wait and see. And read 42, and I'm like, wow. And it's written by Benjamin Percy, too. It's very hit or miss. But this is definitely a hit. This is some Wolverine, like, unleashed. This is got, I say it's got the sauce. It's got extra sauce. And it's bloody good because it goes over the top with blood and carnage and saber teeth. And that was good. And those are the digital comics for this week. Yeah. What's in the bag, though? What did we buy this week? I only ended up getting 2 new comic books off the shelves. I'm blessed and lucky to have gotten what I got because they were the last issues of each. And that was at 3:30 on Wednesday. They've been open since 11. I'm not knocking them. Not. I mean, because I can always get what I want. You just got to, go move. I could even ask them, too, to order it for them. You know what I mean? But I just like the shelves. I like the hunt of it. There's something appealing in that for me. But Hulk number 8 by Nick Klein, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. This is a very loud comic book. Loud meaning, okay, I love onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia is the word that's spelled the way it sounds. It is your sound effect in a comic book. And this is just handful of hand-drawn as part of the art by the hand of the penciler. You see that? I mean, it's just... And a Hulk magazine is a loud place because it's full of explosions and punches. But look at that. Now you can really tell the sound effects that are just cut and paste and dropped on top of an image. And then you can totally see something that is part of the art. Isn't that? Look at that splash page. That's the World War II Ghost Rider that's introduced in the sidecar with the little kitties protecting. And I just love the art in this book. And you see over here, you can tell these, like those onomatopoeia were looked like they might have been dropped in there. But that one right there, scroom, the sound of beheading monsters with a rolled up car that you scrunched up into a into a giant baseball and threw at the heads of some monsters. This is an awesome book. This is really good. I'm just so happy with this. They are watering down the booze. Indeed. Yeah. I didn't bring any snacks today. So I'm out of snacks. I need to start, like, looking back on the on the snacks. Look. Boom. That's a sound effect. That's a sound of landing, of Hulk landing. He's kind of on fire because he's been holding Ghost Rider's chain. And this just keeps on keeping on. Look at that. Hey, look, a snack food ad in the style of a comic. See, there we go. It sounds like, that feels like a return to normalcy. A snack. Look at this. Oh, jeez. It's Black Widow and Hawkeye by Stephanie Phillips. Good luck with that. And we got Local Man number 9, which finishes off this arc. And this was a really good book. Love it. And this one is called Local Girl, this arc, and it's about it's about long lost loves. It's about coming home again. It's about the responsibility of a superhero, and just like some home. This is some Midwestern noir. Let's put it that way. Something Tim Seeley had on a former title of his called Revival. That was an interesting book, but I never finished it. But did I enjoy Beast World? Overall, I did enjoy Beast World. Yeah. I thought I like a good Titan story, and this was a good Titan story. I like the ending, and I like that twist. Yeah. The Helmet of Hate. Dr. Hate, as opposed to Dr. Fate, And so, yeah, Local Man, one of my favorite comics of last year, in my top 5. I'll be tuned in. You keep making them. Now, this I found walking in, $5 grab bag. It was on the sidewalk table walking in, and just this ROM caught my eye. I had this as a kid. This is totally my wheelhouse. Then I looked on the other side. It was like, oh, wow. It's a it's a what if from around that same time, in like 1984. I open her up, and there are 2 more books in here. We have Kid Colt Outlaw. This is a 1976 comic book. Hey, David, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. It's good to see everyone out there. This is a 1976 copyright, but this is a March 1977 cover. This is volume 1, number 216 of Kid Colt Outlaw. And it's a Western comic. And look, movie ad for King Kong, the King Kong remake. And the ubiquitous Hostess advertisement. Ain't that cool? Love that. But I love these old comic books. I really do. These really bring me back. And then a 1990 comic book, Avengers Spotlight, starring Hawkeye. Interesting credit page, too. Very creative. Got some TSR. This is Dragonlance, The Forgotten Realms. Video game ad. That's right. And electronic game ad. Video game ad. Remember Double Dragon? I love that game. Oh, boy. But yeah, what if Submariner had saved Atlantis from its destiny? Wow. 40 pages. $1 in the 60-cent age. This has a Cracker Jack. Burger Time. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This is an October 1983 cover. So this would be summer of 83. I'd be 10 years old. Check this out. A double page spread for G.I. Joe, the video game for the Atari 2600. Man, that's really going to be. I love the split advertisement. Because you can appeal to playing as a bad guy. Which is good, which we're going to talk about in just a second when it comes to. We are going to talk a little bit about that Batman game, huh? Yeah, Lane Kramer asked me to, like, the other day, yesterday at Wes's, if we're going to bring that up. How many of you out there have seen the spoiler of Batman, his fate, in the rightfully titled Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League video game? JK has. And yeah. Beautiful cover. Trying to find where's the maker's mark. Is it covered up by something? But David Garrick has not seen the Bat's fate. Well, we're gonna spoil it, and like, unless you're gonna play the game, are you gonna play the game? It's out there on the internet everywhere about it spoils. I guess this game is part of the Arkham universe, the Arkham games universe, and it has Kevin Conroy in his final appearance as Batman because we lost him, and but the whole thing is that, hey, James, how's it going? Good to see you, buddy. It's Harley Quinn shoots Batman in the head execution style. And that's Batman's fate in the game. And I got like lots of questions like, do you have to kill them? Is that like is that the only thing that yes, that's the Jessica Lange King Kong movie, yeah. And yeah, I mean, like, it says on the cover too of the game, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. So it's like a bad guy power fantasy game. And so I guess each one of the Justice League, you have to kill each one of them. And Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. He says, James says the game actually sucks. Exactly. I don't know. It sounds like it's just it's set in its own kind of multiverse, right? Does it have to be? I've heard people say that yes, this is canonically part of the Arkham universe, and so that's an iteration. And with time travel and everything, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the ultimate ending to this Batman, to that Justice League. I guess people have like this whole problem with seeing just Batman just shot in the head, maybe by a feminist icon. And the whole thing that Joker never could do it, but Harley does. I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, I thought exactly, that's what I've heard too. See, I'm not a fan of the Arkham games. I don't play the Arkham games. Um excuse me. I know that's got a pretty big following. The Arkham games do. But I mean, like game mechanic style and story wise, it follows that same thing. I mean, I don't know. It seems like I said, just like, hey, this is a flavor of the game made for people that like bad guys. Here's the bad guys' day of comeuppance. This is a variant. This is like an alternate reality where the bad guys win the day, and they do what they're. Waller told you to go kill the Justice League. Harley Quinn killing Batman is this huge feminist power fantasy. I can totally see it too. It's just like, are people getting bent out of shape about that? Oh, Kevin Conroy? Really? Oh, that's cool. I've yet to see any of that. There's part one's out. And I love Crisis on Infinite Earths. But it's interesting too. I mean, Kevin Conroy, you could, by the end, he never stopped doing Batman over 30 years. 32 years. Actually 31 because he passed away last year. But you can hear him getting older. You can. There's knocking from downstairs. I think they would text me if they wanted me to shut up. You hear that? I think they're just hanging something up or something. Let's pretend it's a woodpecker. Actually, there are woodpeckers around here. I live in like Tree City, USA, Somerville, Massachusetts. And it's nothing but baseball fields and trees everywhere. Lots of birds. Lane says he just dislikes the premise of why are we killing all the heroes. Well, it's like I think it's the, people want to play as the bad guy and let the bad guys have. It's a power fantasy, and it's about it's about I don't know, it's about sharing the power, I guess. And actually, I got into a conversation with Yellow Flash a little bit. Like he said, like, oh, King Shark will wield a Green Lantern ring, and it's like, do these people actually know about how these things work? Do they have any DC writers involved in the scripts of this game in any way, or is it just sensitivity writers from Canada? Uh, you know, but maybe it's. I think AL. I think you nailed it right here. Really, I thank you. I think it's GTA DC Universe style, and where you get to play the bad guy, and which isn't bad. I mean that's a different. Being a bad guy in a video game, you know, allows you to make choices you never would in real life. It's kind of maybe why we like Tony Soprano or any kind of bad guy, and or Walter White. You have given yourself permit. You're an avatar in this fictional world where you get to make the worst and most selfish choices, and that could be considered evil too. And at what consequence? So but maybe it's just like I guess it's the way that that Harley Quinn literally lectures Bruce Wayne on his privilege before shooting him in the head. And which was kind of just because Harley is not Harley Quinn anymore. I mean, I love Harley Quinn. I love Batman the Animated Series. I love Arlene Sorkin's Harley Quinn, the original recipe Harley Quinn. So the Harley Quinn that's been exported into the DC universe is very far between. It's a pale imitation of the one and only original Batman the Animated Series. Arlene Sorkin's voiced and inspired Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Harley Quinn, the unpowered woman who chose her own agency, who was a PhD, put herself through school, in grad school and in med school, and made the conscious choice to become the Joker's Mall, a gangster archetype as well, the gangster's Mall, the female sidekick, and who chose to be in this relationship with one of the most dangerous men on the planet, with all the thrills that come with it and all the dangers that come with it too. And then it's been, so modern Harley is a feminist icon because it's for different reasons. She's been groomed into being, like a spokeswoman for domestic violence and for alphabet representation and for being a girl boss. And so to have Harley execute Batman, it's, there's a lot of subtext there. I think there is something to unpack. I really do. Really? We're going to be going over coming Wednesday, in Wednesday's episode, we talk about the Batman the Animated Series Story Bible a little bit, because I have a copy of that PDF. It's 153 pages of Bruce Timm goodness, and maybe we should spend an afternoon talking about that on its own. We could have a Batman the Animated Series exclusive episode. I got the box set. I got a bunch of the movies. I got Superman the Animated Series. I got Batman Beyond, that collection. It's I have to still get Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I would love to get those, and Static Shock too, because Static has crossover with BTAS. Love that. But like the modern WB Harley Quinn, like eat, love, kill kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, she's this intersectionality kind of cheapened Harley, because she's now a poster girl for feminism. Before that, she was something else. She was a dangerous character. She was a bad guy. She was the Joker's Mall, MOLL. You got to think 1930s gangster movies, Jimmy Cagney, and the beautiful, smart talking lady who was by the gangster's side, and had to also deal with his unpleasant, rougher nature too. And so she's more valuable to the girl boss story angle, and as a survivor of domestic abuse And as someone that can like, but that's just part of it, right? And that's our 2 cents on Harley Quinn and the big Batman debacle of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They do what they set out to do. And here in the show notes here, written by my executive producer, I wanted to talk a little bit about. We were talking about wingdings on on Wes's show yesterday. What are wingdings? You see it everywhere in comics. They're a substitute for swear words. They're like the hashtag, percentage, asterisk, ampersand, and just like the symbols. They're called, and then those are called wingdings. And when they're together to substitute for a word. Now, remember that comic books also have had like this huge, really great history. Right. Wingding. Thank you, JK. That's a wingding. Something like that you know is a substitute for a swear word, for cussing inside of a comic book. And they're everywhere these days. You can't shake it. I mean, there's just like, but comics used to have great substitutes for swear words. Like Mad-On. I love that. You got a real Mad-On for Darkseid. Mad-On, Darkseid's got a real Mad-On for Superman. It's supposed to be like a hard-on. You know what I mean? Like you get really worked up over this, or like in Legion of Superheroes, like, for Grife's sake, what's Grife? And I was also thinking about like other things like Battlestar Galactica, one of my all-time favorite shows. I got a couple of Vipers up there. This is an Eagle Moss as well that goes with those. This is a Cylon Raider from the original show. I have a 3D model of Starbuck and Apollo's blaster right there, the 78 the Battlestar Galactica blaster, alongside the 1979 Buck Rogers Battlestar Galactica the Buck Rogers in the 25th Century blaster. They were 3D printed by a friend of mine, Brightest Day Audiobooks. And but there's like Battlestar had some really good substitute swear words like frack, which obviously is the F word. They had this other one called Feltercarb. And Feltercarb was really not really well defined. And I don't know where I caught this from, but because by the 2004 reimagining of Battlestar, it's called Felgercarb, and it's a brand of Toron toothpaste, and but it's also because Feldercarb, I believe, is the organic material that accumulates in the cracks of your panels and by the filter, like the air filter of the cockpit of your Viper or on ships. Like, just imagine dead skin cells, sweat, tears, blood, saliva, sebum, the stuff that's in blackheads and whiteheads, breadcrumbs, from your rations. And in Starbucks' case, it could be ambrosia or other bodily fluids from his many hookups. But just imagine an organic material that just coalesces, around your electronics, and that's Felder. I don't know where I found that, and I can't even quote myself on the internet and be like and look it up, but it's like I felt that was Feldercarb. This is crude organic shit that is Feldercarb, something like wicked gross. Oh boy, I know. Exactly. And it all started with Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. And they had a really good run, and it was kind of successful too, but it didn't go anywhere. None of those characters stuck. And it just gets further and further away from from Harley Quinn herself, forked up. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And so that was my two cents on Felgercarb. What is Felgercarb? Felgercarb. Yeah, I don't know where I came up with that. So if anyone's out there watching, you're a Battlestar Galactica fan, you are more than welcome to put in your 2 cents, to correct me, and to give me the learning moment that I so desperately need. And anything else going on? Anyone in the chat want to throw out a subject matter? You want to talk about anything while we're all here together? Wrap up the show, and my last beer of Sunday. With you guys, and looking forward. Program notes. The show, the Wednesday show, is moving to 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern because of my work-life balance. We needed to adjust some things at work, so I'm coming in an hour later and staying an hour later too. So my hours have shifted just a little. So I like being able to make the live chat premiere if I can, and hang out with you guys just for a couple of minutes in the day. And so I won't be getting to the local comic book shop until almost 4:00. So I'll be maybe missing out on even more stuff. Okay, why is Pikachu the best producer? Discuss. I believe it's because he's got a bold artistic vision that he only shares with a select few, meaning us here in the production studios here of our Boston studios, which is down the street from the corner with Phelan and Wicked Pessa. That Pikachu he's dynamic, he's energetic, he's positive, he's full of pluck. And he's just, he's been with me for years, and it's like it's one of these great relationships you got. It's like Phil Spector and John Lennon, Dr. Dre and Eminem, George Lucas with any responsible person of movie making that knows that can rein him in, like like Gary Kurtz or Marshall Lucas's ex-wife, but yeah, he's here. He's part of the team. He's full of stuff. And what do pikas use to hold forks? Pause. So we need to hit pause. We say that. Hey, speaking of the devil, hey George Lucas, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. Pikachu rules. And let's see. Looking forward to SSOC later this. SSOC, is that a con, or am I missing something wicked obvious? And let's see. Okay, Lane Kramer saying that. Yeah, probably. Yeah, why not? Ollie will be a happy man for it too. Because they're gonna just be into that. He's got lots of money. He's got his own private island. Let's not go any further with that. And let's see. Can Pika get me? I don't know. I think they fell out of touch a few years back. That's about the Tears of the Pokemon when he brought Ash back to life. Who's going to see Madam Web? Not me. I would I'll be happy to watch that for free on Prime when it comes out. Specifically to just oogle and objectify both, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. I like pretty girls, and The beer is all gone. And I think that's time. It's time. I think that's about time to wrap up the show. So thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been our new release review show, and we got to talk about a few other things too. And thanks for hanging out with us. And please smash that like button. Like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, think about subscribing. We got a lot of things to talk about on this channel. We are the dojo for tactical and practical spirituality, the kind that's going to get you some real traction on some of the things that burn you up inside. A lot of it, I think, has to do with is just reformatting your own self-talk and making it a nicer person to you. Having yourself be a nicer person to yourself, and then it just follows that you're a nicer person to other people. It's so weird. I don't know. I didn't make it up. I just experienced this, and I want to share it with others. So we talk about spirituality here a lot. Here at the Comics Talk with Reverend Sully, ordained on the internet. That's right. And oh yeah, I would love to go to C2E2 in April, but I just can't swing it. Like work wise, I can't request time off. It's one of the busiest times of year. But I will have the summer off, and I will be going to Wicked Comic Con here in Boston and Fan Expo Boston. And I'm totally maybe musing potentially Fan Expo Dallas. Thinking about it next year too, 2025. I think Wes from Thinking Critical is going to come to the States for the first time in forever. And he wants to go to Fan Expo 2025, Dallas. So got to save for that too. But thank you so very much, everyone out there. Thank you very much. And have fun out there, David. I mean, go to Pequod's Pizza in North Clybourne. It's great. Oh, hey. Haha. Good to see you, Gray. Gray's got a great station. Check him out. You just click on his icon. That will bring you to his station. And he just did a really good show with Jim from Weird Science Comics about Animal Man issue number 8. And so this is where it starts getting dark. And some good stuff by Grant Morrison. Good to see you, Gray. And but we're signing off. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Now starting at 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern Daily. I mean, U.S. Eastern Daily. We haven't done a daily show in months, but we're doing it on Wednesday at 4 p.m. We'll keep the Sunday live chat at 3 p.m. And thank you so very much. Good to see you, and God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.